everyone, this is Chris. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, we're going to be making a Valentine's Day card for a man. I know it's the second time, but I think that it's not always easy to find a theme or even a project that fits a man. It's easy to maybe find a present, but not so much a card. So I still wanted this time to include some little hearts, but still being very male looking. If you want to adapt this for a woman, you just need to change the background and the colors and it will do just fine. So it's a waterfall card. And it's the first time I make one, so it's really easy to do in case you've never tried out. So I wanted to make it with you. And I've incorporated this little saying here, just I love you. Of course, you can use any kind of stamps. And I decided to use some hearts. I've seen videos with the squares or, very square or rectangles. I wanted to do something a little different. So for this you will need a base card, a regular A2 size card. I've used also a black here in the background that is about a 1/4 of an inch smaller than my A2 size. And again, another piece of pattern paper here, again about a 1/4 of an inch smaller. Okay, so I've got already my 2 pieces here. I have my base card. We're not going to right now glue everything on your card. We're just going to glue, and I've decided to change the color a little bit. So I'm going to use this pattern. It comes from the same paperback, and I don't use it that much, so I decided to use it right now. I'm going to glue this one down. So be generous with the glue or your double-sided tape, because you're going to have some weight on the top of your card here. All right, let me put it here on top. Okay. Now, you're going to have to cut a strip of paper to put here on both of your cards. This is why we're not going to glue anything right now. So just to give you a size, it's going to be the size of your outside card here, the first layer. And in my example, it's going to be in centimeters. It's about 10 centimeters, and in inches, it's almost 4 inches. And for the width of your little piece of paper here, your strip of paper, it's about about 3/4 of an inch. You could make wider if you want to. I think you shouldn't go under, because again, it's going to carry and be strong enough to use your bigger strip. So I've already cut mine, and there's no wrong or right place where you put it. Don't put it too low. Again, I'm going to put my other example here. Don't put it too high. I think that's just right, about the right place. The 2/3 bottom of your card. Yeah, I think I like it this way. You're just going to put a little bit of glue on the sides, and not in the middle, just on the sides. Again, I'm going to use double-sided tape. I'm going to use this one. I like the Tombow as well. A bit more here. All right. So again, I'm going to glue it. Oops. I'm going to glue it, around here. That's good. Now I can take this away. And now we're going to make 2 holes here and use our brads. So I try not to be too close to the outside edge of my card. You center your holes. All right. Gonna pass here your 2 brads. It's to secure your card, actually. Just made to secure it. In case the double-sided tape is not enough, and I think it gives a really nice touch to it anyway. Oh, that's too much open. All right. And now at this stage, we can glue it down onto our card. Look at that, it's really cute like this. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to put more double-sided tape here. And again, be generous with your double-sided tape. I usually don't put that much. And even on the brads. All right. Now onto the card. I'm going to try not to make it too crooked this time. Yeah, that's good. All right. So now that we are at this point, we are going to take a strip of paper that is the same size as what you're going to put on top. So I'm not really going to give you any measurements because it really depends on this first. So first decide how big you want to make your hearts, your squares. It could be ovals, any kind of shape. And because I cut these out with some dies, and then I did my strip of paper accordingly, at least the width to my hearts. And then I cut my strip of paper. And I used a sheet of regular letter size, you know, 8.5 by 11. And I took the strip, the long way size, you know, the hot dog size. So I have a long strip of paper, right? We're gonna use our card base here. We're gonna put it in there just to see where we're gonna need to trim it down. So again, the width is totally up to your hearts or your little images you're going to put on top. It can be, of course, smaller. It needs to fit in here. And then the length of it is going to depend on how long or short you want to make your designs here. So for example, in here, I am going to make this stop there because I want to put a little handle it here so it's easier to grab the piece of paper. So I think just right there is nice. And then I want to stop it. Of course, it needs to be at least, or at most, I should say, at most the size of your card there. But I'm going to decide to actually stop where my, I need to put this straight, where my black line is. Okay, make sure when you fold this that you're straight with the other side of your strip of paper. Then you can burnish it down really well. Now you can take it away. Okay, that's important. I do it this way because I know it's positioned exactly where I want. You can make it smaller. Like here it is smaller. Here I've done it wider, I mean a little longer. So there's no real measurements for this. You don't have to. Let's make things simple. Now what we're going to do, we're going to measure this time. If we can avoid it, we avoid it. But we're going to try to do this. And we're going to cut this in a moment. Where I'm going to use actually my Scorpel. I'm going to put my first fold here, just in the middle, where it's been where you can see 6. And I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch here. At 6 3/4, I'm going to make a fold. I'm going to bring it back here. For me, it's easier because I'm not used to the American, you know, ways of doing this. So me, it's easier, which makes about 2 centimeters if you want to do it in centimeters. I'm going to do that a second time. And I'm going to do it a third time. Actually, I'm not sure I really need to do it third time. I just did it before. And I'm going to do a third time, which makes in total 4 score lines. Okay, so when it's done, you're going to fold them. Okay, and I like to burnish them down a little bit. All right, that's neat. I'm going to put it back here on my card. And where your fold is done, okay, you need to put it on the last fold here. Put it exactly where you want it at the beginning. Don't glue at this point. You're not supposed to glue this part. We're going to glue the upper part. So you said here, that's right where I want it there. All right. So now you need to take a pencil, and mark exactly where you need to cut your paper. It shouldn't go, but it's okay if you go below the line or if you go a little bit above the line, but I just want to try and make it just on the line if I can. It's supposed to be anyway shorter than the piece you've got underneath. So I have it here. And I'm just gonna make a line. It's gonna be easier for me to cut because I'm going to use another cutter that I'm not really used to use that much. But I think it's cute. I like this little guillotine thing. I don't use it because it's not big, but actually it's quite handy. I'm gonna make sure I'm exactly on the line where I wanna cut. And good, I think it's good. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna put it back into my card. And yes, it seems to be perfect. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna put, okay, so this is the normal way it should be. You're gonna flip it over and you're gonna put glue here just on the bottom of your strip. Again, be generous, use some double-sided tape that is quite strong. I'm usually okay with Tombow. And now I'm gonna do it this way. You center it, or this way, it's gonna be easier for you. I'm making sure that I'm centered here. I'm on the right level I want. I'm starting to fold it back here, being exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to glue it on my strip. Right, and as you can see, now it's gonna work. Okay, that's exactly what I want. That's perfect. Right, now I'm going to use my hearts. So I've cut them first and then I embossed them, okay? So if you want to know what I've used, I used some spell binders for the dies in different sizes, and for the embossing folder, I have used the spell binder one. You know, they're two-sided actually, and I've used the one that is EL012. So I've used that. So what I usually do is cut first and then emboss, because if you emboss and then cut, what happens sometimes is that when you emboss, it's making your paper a little bit more fragile, and you might rip it apart when you go and cut it, especially with a trimmer. And I'm going to use now some distress ink and a little sponge, and I want to give this this heart a little more depth, a little more dimension. Okay, and I'm going to put a bit of color just on the outside. Maybe I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to finish it up more towards the center. I really want the outside to have more color than the inside. It's going to give more dimension to my heart. And I'm pulling it towards the center, but not completely covering it. And there you go. I hope you'll be able to see, yeah, you can see the embossing places now. I'm gonna add just a little bit more towards the center, not much. There you go. Okay, that's done. I'm probably gonna use a little bit more distress ink, but later on. I already did my other hearts here. I've got 3 hearts in total. You could use 4 hearts if you wanted to, but they're quite big actually. Take my card, and you're going to put a little bit of double-sided tape just here on the top of your hearts, or you can also put some glue just there on this part here. But since my shape is not going to cover this whole piece, I prefer to directly put glue there. It's totally up to you. If you're using a square, you can do that. put directly the double-sided tape there. I'm just going to do it this way on top. Perfect. And you're going to start by the bottom. So I'm only going to put 3. And you need to center it and align it just a little bit under your score line there. Just a little bit under, not above. That's good. I'm going to do the same thing with my 2 others. I'm going to do the same thing here. All right. Then I'm going to align this one on top. It's easier if you do it this way. Again, slightly under my score line. And the last one on top. Good. And now let's make sure everything works out perfectly right. Okay, so you could use an image of yourself or your loved one if you wanted to. You could put a sentiment on top. What I am going to do is put a sentiment here. So I've already pre-cut a small piece of paper that is going to be smaller. I didn't want to use a heart again. I wanted to do something a little different. And I'm going to use the same stamp which says I love you because I think it's appropriate. It's very small. I'm going to try not to put my head in there. Let me really ink it well. All right, that's good. And because I don't want to leave it plain, I'm going to put, again, a little bit of color in here. And I'm going to stick to the same color, and I want to change. And I like this red. Which one is it? It's Fired Brick. Between red and orange, yeah, a little bit like a brick. I would agree. Not too much. That's good. I'm going to be done with my ink now. Again, double-sided tape. When you put something here, if you're using black, try to not use a too thick piece of cardstock because you might have some troubles putting it back under. I'm going to put it around here. You can really put it at the level you want, so when the person is going to open it, they're going to see the I love you popping out. That's what I really like. And now to make it easier to grab this piece, I'm going to use a bit of my leftovers. I have actually, I think it's around here. Yeah, let me check. Yeah, I had to trim this piece down, so I'm left with this one. And I'm going to cut here. I'm going to follow the lines actually. So I'm using the same paper, which is nice. And I'm going to fold it and make a little strip. So again, you can do this wider or thinner if you want to. I'm going to put my piece of paper inside there. And again, I'm going to measure. It needs not to be longer. Okay, it shouldn't be longer than your card. I think it's a bit too long. I'm going to shorten it out. A little bit more. All right, so again, I'm going to make a hole into my strip here in the center. And not too close to the edge. Let me see, I think it should be good there. I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to use a brad. So just an example here. When you do it like this, if you just put the brad, it's going to move around like this. If you don't want to, you can put a little bit of glue or double-sided tape on both sides if you want it to stay in place. So I'm going to put my brad here. like to open it before. Okay, then there. And now underneath, and then glue the whole thing down. Make it straight. Does it look straight? Yes, it is straight. And now open my brad in this direction, parallel to my edge, so nobody's gonna poke, the person is gonna poke itself. All right, and it's done. Let me go back. Okay. And there you go. It just makes things, I need to, if it tends to stay open, really burnish the last one there. It's gonna make things easier. There you go. And then you have something to grab onto. Maybe should I do something a little longer, but honestly, I think that a piece of paper, especially if it's for a man, would be better than a bow or any kind of fabric. I think this is nice. And there you go. So you see why I was talking about not using a paper that is too thick, but it does work out fine, okay? I really love it. I think it's cute. It's really easy to do. And again, you can change the colors here of your pattern paper and make it for a woman. It's really nice. It's three-dimensional. You can put nice messages in there, and it's easy and quick to do. So there you go. If you like this video, please give me some thumbs up. It helps my channel a lot. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. And if you can, please do share on social medias. Thank you so much. See you soon and take care. Bye-bye.